and we are ready for hot topic number 3.
That's right. Our viewers really wanted to know more about the role of a financial advisor or a broker and what kind of role they should play. Here's a question that we got that's very typical from Bruce. He's in beautiful Mount Airy, Pennsylvania.
Pam and Jack, how do I go about choosing the right financial advisor? It seems so complicated. They all have different credentials and titles. How do I make sense about what they really do?
Well, Bruce, Pam hit the streets of San Francisco to help sort it all out.
Jack, have you ever noticed the long list of credentials that follow these financial advisors' names? There's a CFA, a CFS, a CFP, a CHP. No, wait a second, that is the Highway Patrol. CPA, RIA, PFA, and of course, each and every one should have an MBA. There are basically 3 types of financial advisors out there. You've got your traditional Wall Street stockbrokers who work for firms like Smith Barney, which is now owned by Citigroup. It's absolutely enormous. Or Merrill Lynch, you know that name. He's the chairman. Or UBS, very global.
What can you get from your full-service broker? Well, they have massive research departments giving you access to all of their expensive analyst reports. The downside is their analyst recommendations rarely beat the overall stock market averages. Plus, you can expect to get hit up with lots of investment recommendations because brokers still make most of their money the old-fashioned way, from commissions.
So you have to ask yourself, could my broker's advice be in any way influenced by the amount of commission he gets?
The way the brokers are paid are set up to encourage them to recommend products that aren't in their client's best interest. They get paid more to sell riskier products.
Then there's the second category of financial advisors, the so-called discount brokers. Now, most of us would recognize this man. Chuck Schwab started his company more than 30 years ago, and Peter Lynch ran Fidelity Investments, another discount broker right down the street. And now there are dozens and dozens of discount and deep discount brokers.
Now, what can you get from a discount broker? Stocks, bonds, real estate trusts, and lots of good no-load mutual funds. Now, you still have to pay fees to invest here, but if you know what you want, they're nowhere near as high as full-service brokers.
Now, the downside to the discounters is you're not going to get a lot of hand-holding, a lot of advice for those cut-rate commissions.
Investors can take advantage of the materials, the educational materials that these kind of firms have available to them. If they're confident of their ability to make these decisions on their own, there's no reason in the world why they need to spend more money to get the execution from a full-service broker.
And that brings us to our third category of advisors. Meet Jane Doe. It's not her real name, but she's an independent financial advisor. Now, as an independent, that means that she does not have to be licensed with the NASD like most stockbrokers, which means, if this were me, I could take this, hang it up right outside my door, call myself anything I want, and claim that I'm a wealth planner, for example. No exam necessary. Come on in, I'm open.
The drawback is you have to make sure an independent advisor is qualified, and that means homework.
Reputable independents are registered through either the SEC or their state.
We think that the best source of advice are the fee-only financial planners. The challenge for investors in this area is to make sure that the person that they're dealing with knows what they're talking about, has real expertise. The absolute first step is to make sure that the individual is registered, either with the Securities and Exchange Commission or the state securities regulators.
And there's one more thing you have to know about financial advisors. Some of them want you to sign over your rights so they can make investment decisions for you. This is called a discretionary account.
I think it's extremely ill-advised for investors to give up that kind of control over their accounts. It's by giving up that kind of control that investors set themselves up for having their account wiped out if, despite all of the effort they went into selecting their advisor, that advisor turns out not to be ethical.
Now, there are plenty of skilled, honest brokers out there who really can improve your net worth. And this is my money. And I have to make sure that I don't let any investment advisor get more than his fair share of it.
You kind of enjoyed yourself out there, didn't you?
What? Nobody got arrested on my crew.
I'm sure that's your story and you're sticking to it. But I get it. You know, I honestly never realized there were that many investment advisors running around out there with so many different backgrounds.
It's Speaking of backgrounds, do you realize that 99% of people who use financial advisors have never, ever even thought to check out the background?
I got to tell you, I'm guilty. Of course, I really don't have my own broker, but I guess I figure if I get a referral from a really good friend, that can serve as my background check. But knowing you, Pam, I know that's not enough.
No, and the number one question that I get from our audience is, how do I know that the person I've hired is honest and good at what he or she does? Well, nobody's going to tell you whether that advisor can make money, but I'm going to tell you the best kept secret about how to make sure you don't lose your assets. What you need are two pieces of information. You need the full name of the advisor or the broker, and you need the name of the firm where that advisor is working. That's it. With that, you can go online and find out real make or break information.
Such as?
Well, where that broker's worked before, if he or she might have been fired, any client complaints on record, those are all red flags, and it's all there.
So, what if you don't find this advisor's name on the website or anything about him or her? That's a good thing, right?
That's worse, because the biggest red flag is if your advisor doesn't exist in any of these regulators' databases, which is where I'm taking you. Run, don't walk, head for the exit fast. That means that he or she probably isn't even licensed or registered.